Hello everyone, More Weak God here. Today I'd like to talk about being happy. Last episode I talked about trying not to be a prick, trying to be a good person, the best person you can be. Or just being good, because that's good enough in my books. And I just want to say a few words about that last episode. I know only one person's seen it. I don't really care about views, so it's all good. But what I wanted to say was, I feel a bit pretentious. I felt a bit pretentious in hindsight, using fancy philosophical words and gimmicks. I'm not trying to show off. Definitely not. It just came across as a bit more pretentious than I wanted it or intended it to be. So I just wanted to say that I'm not going to go into that kind of depth today. Well, I am going to go into that kind of depth, but not in that kind of way. So without further ado, enjoy the video. Being happy for me is a lot of things, and I think in lockdown, actually, I've only recently realised what it is I want from life and what kind of person I am. Because I feel like a big part of being happy is realising who you are, what your goals are, what you want to do, who you want to be. Because when you don't know anything, when you've got no idea, in a way it's easier, but in a way you've got no direction for where you want your happiness to be channeled in and where that happiness can be channeled into. So lockdown's actually been quite good for me in order to really understand. I feel like I've kind of, learnt more about myself whilst I've been in lockdown. Sort of, it's strange really. Obviously, the coronavirus is nothing short of a tragedy. All the people who've died and all that, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, for me personally, trying to see the light out of a very dark situation, quite frankly, it's been good for me to understand what it is I want from life. And I've had lots of time to think. It's kind of like being in prison in the sense that it gives you time to think. Not that I think that prison is a good form of rehabilitation or punishment in any way whatsoever. Just had to let that out. That'll be for a different video, I think. But it's been good. It's been good. That's what I wanted to say. Give me your money, bitch.
This shop is popular with cops. You must leave now.
It's popular with gangbangers as well, motherfucker.
No,
Stick them up.
don't hurt me. I have a family. You're
Yep.
terrifying.
Yep.
Just give me a
Yep.
second.
Yep. Oh, you call me terrifying.
I'm going as fast as I can.
I'm terrifying. Yahoo! Anyway, being happy. So once you know what you want,
You in trouble, mister.
that's a good place to start. Find some things that you're really interested in. Find some passions, some hobbies. You'll know them when you've got them. Some people may ask, how do I find what I'm interested in? Well, just try and experience as much as you can. I'm into, many things, and once you realise that those things can fill in your time, keeping busy is an important part of being happy, and avoiding, being bored, obviously, and being depressed, being anxious in some ways. Keeping busy is really important. I've never experienced grief of any kind, of any serious kind myself, but I will one day. And I've heard lots of people say that keeping busy is important for that. Getting over a breakup, keeping busy is important for that as well. I can attest to that. Being anxious, being depressed, keeping busy is important for that as well. I can attest to that as well. So filling your time up with stuff to do, not doing anything, that has a certain joy in itself. Time you enjoy wasting. What the fuck? Oh shit. Time you enjoy wasting is not time wasted. That's something that people say quite often, and I think it's true. So wasting time is a hobby in itself in some respects. But keeping busy, finding stuff to do, that's a big part of being happy, in my opinion. Some people are happy doing absolutely nothing, and that is me on some days, to be honest. I quite like not being in a hurry, not being in a rush, etc., etc. Another big part of being happy, I think, is surrounding people. It sounds like what I'm saying is quite basic, but I think that if you think it's basic, then that probably means you're not taking it seriously. So I think surrounding yourself with people, something else that might be considered basic, is surrounding yourself with people who you think are a good influence on you. And these people are a good influence on you. You hear the word toxic people, toxic friend, toxic partner being thrown around a lot. I didn't really know what that meant, and I kind of thought that people weren't really, were sort of talking about something that didn't really exist. But I kind of thought there are people in my life that before lockdown, I didn't really fully consider them to be toxic. But now that I've had time to think, it's given me time to reflect on the people that are really a good influence on me or a bad influence on me. And I've realised there are people in my life who are toxic, who even though you wish you could help them, you could fix them, it's not always possible. You've got to focus on yourself, and so you've got to rid yourself of those people.
What can I do for you?
And also you've got to get better at driving, unlike me, who sucks at driving. There we go.
Can't handle the heat, my friend?
Thank you, Lester.
Okay, leave it with creepy Uncle Lester.
So keeping busy, finding stuff that you enjoy, surrounding yourself with people that you like. Being honest to yourself is a big part of it as well. Sometimes the biggest cause of unhappiness is yourself. I mean, the biggest cause of unhappiness in any case, almost, is yourself. Unless it's other people being, being horrible to you. But in a way, it's the way you react to those people as well that counts. In some cases that's not the case, but in lots of cases, the way you react to the people who are having a bad influence on you, that is a big part of how it affects you. And if you can cut them out of your life, then go for it. And you absolutely should, because putting yourself forward, putting yourself ahead out of everyone else in terms of happiness, putting yourself first is the best way of putting it. Not ahead of everyone else. That sounds a bit self-centered, even though it does technically mean the same thing as putting yourself first. It's just the way you say it. Putting yourself first is important. Not all the time. Sometimes it's good to put other people before yourself. But when you really need it, when it really matters, put yourself first. That doesn't mean that you don't help other people in your life. It just means that when you need to, put yourself first, give yourself the attention you deserve, and that way you can really tend to yourself, tend to your wounds. Whilst you're doing that, the people who you'd rather be helping can put themselves forward as well, put themselves first as well. Okay, playing golf, I can relate to that. Maybe I'll play some golf later, who knows. I also think that a big part of being happy, being satisfied, is...
Look around. Take it in.
How to describe this? Not having... Sort of, think about it. I'm not a big gym freak. I've never really liked the gym. It makes me hella anxious working out in front of people. I feel really self-conscious. I prefer working out at home when I do. Think about the targets you set yourself, because there are other aspects in your life where you can apply this to. Think about the targets you set for yourself. Once you reach that target, what is it that you do? Do you go, oh yes, I'm satisfied now, or do you go, all right, I'm going to aim a little bit higher, and then once you get to that, you're going to say, oh yeah, I'm going to aim a little bit higher. It's the same with working out, sort of. You achieve your fitness goals, that's great, but you're not satisfied because you want to go further. And that might be good for achieving results, but if you're never happy with the results that you get, what's the point? Some people, will definitely be able to carry on improving and be satisfied every time, but for a lot of people, when you carry on setting yourself new goals, when you carry on trying to go for the next level, you'll find yourself unsatisfied and unhappy, in my opinion. Sometimes it's good to be satisfied with what you've got. Give yourself a reality check. Sometimes I make a really conscious effort to be grateful for what's around me, for what I have, to not be sort of, how to put it, to not take things for granted. I sound like a really privileged white kid right now, because I kind of am. But I sort of, I look at my phone, and whilst I'm on my phone, I think to myself, well, I'm really lucky to have a phone. And whilst I'm talking to my friends in a PlayStation party, I'm like, wow, this is really great that I can actually do this. Sort of, sometimes when I'm about to speak in a conversation with someone, I really appreciate the fact that I can speak, that conversation is a thing that I can communicate with people. When you give yourself those reality checks and you take things for granted, which people never take for granted, when you see what's really got lots of value in your life, you sort of, the things that are that the average person might think is more impressive than that, being able to talk, that's basic, isn't it? Everyone's able to, most people are able to talk, aren't they? It's not something that you really think about. When you take that, when you don't take that for granted, this kid want to fight me. when you don't take that for granted, then everything else in your life it becomes better in a way. It's sort of it's like a spider web. Everything's connected. Excuse me whilst I beat the shit out of this guy. Teach you how to be happy, motherfucker, and all you can do is punch me, little bitch. Anyway, another big key, I reckon, is taking care of yourself, mentally and physically. And I especially stress the physically bit, because I'm not saying that's more important than mentally taking care of yourself, because, you know, happiness is something to do with your mind at the end of the day, but it's also something to do with your body. And I want to stress that, because when people think about self-care, self-love, they often think solely about their mind, but it's extremely important to take care of your body, because your body and your mind, you know, the connection between your mind and your body is much more than just the neck, right? It's a lot of things. When you don't take care of your body, I feel like that's dangerous, because you become depressed in ways that you're not even aware of. People who smoke, you know, I smoke from time to time. Not religiously. I'm not a fanatical smoker. I'm not a heavy smoker by any means. People who do that, I feel like they, you know, you smoke packs of cigarettes every day, and they do it without realizing. That's when it becomes an issue, because you're harming yourself, and you're decreasing your quality of life, because you're out of breath all the time. You're probably going to get lung cancer or cancer of some degree, which obviously isn't very good for your happiness now, is it? Your teeth fall out. I sound like a school teacher, you know, advertising the risks of smoking, which, you know, there are a lot of health risks of smoking. When you don't take care of your body, your mind suffers as well. And when you don't take care of your mind, your body suffers as well. It's all linked. It's a symbiotic relationship. Take care of your body. That's what I'm saying. It's important. You know, I am 100% for body positivity. But people who are morbidly obese, you know, really just can't do anything, or people who are, you know, really, you know, anorexically skinny. I'm not sure that's a term. I'm trying not to be offensive here. People who are just really skinny and who just, you know, like skeletons, can't get anything done. People who are really overweight, can't get anything done. You know, body positivity, all you want, but up to a certain extent, you're going to be making yourself unhappy, and that's just, I'm just saying that as like a, you know, like an obvious example of how the body and the mind are linked. I think that the pleasures in life, they should be taken in moderation. I think that an important rule, and I was talking about this in the, you know, last episode, everything in moderation. You know, you can get too much of anything. You know, saying, and you may think, oh well, how can I get too much of, you know, love and happiness? Well, the statement "too much love and happiness," you wouldn't say that unless there was a part of that love and happiness which you weren't appreciating, and you know, in itself, it's difficult to think what you wouldn't like about love and happiness. But if you're saying, if I say to someone I'm having too much of this, that means that there's something wrong, and you want to have less of it, or you want to have it in a different way, or something needs to change. So you can, you know, logically have too much of anything. Everything in moderation. You know, the occasional drink, that's fine. Drinking all the time, that is obviously going to decrease your quality of life, and it's going to have an impact on your happiness. You don't need a pretentious 17-year-old on YouTube to tell you that. What you do need reminding of, though, sometimes, and so do I, is that, as I was saying, the body and the mind are linked. They help each other out in many ways. In many ways we can't see, in many ways we can't understand. Just some food for thought. Everything in moderation. Because when you have things in moderation, the pleasure that you're enjoying, it becomes greater in that moment than if you have it all the time. And you know, as I was saying, you don't need Einstein to tell you that. Now you notice that as I'm talking about how to be a good person, how to be happy, I'm walking into a casino. That is probably not a good idea if you're trying to be happy. Right, well, I think that's pretty much all I have to say for today. I find that I say too much and I run out of stuff to say and then I start mumbling. I think I'm getting a little bit better at these every time I do them. I hope you guys agree. If you guys have any suggestions, any topics, anything whatsoever, please put it in the comments, or not. Do what you want, mate. It doesn't really bother me. Well, it does actually, but you know. Oh, come on, seriously? I stayed up so late last night or this morning that. Oh, motherfucker. Alright then. Well, I guess we're going to have to save that for another episode. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you watching this far, unless you just skipped to this bit, which, you know, that's not cool. Please watch the entire video. Nah, just kidding. But thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Peace.